What is the story, everybody? This is Jonathan from Team ChainBlock coming at you with yet another deck profile. But as always, before we go on into it, please like, comment and subscribe. And if you're a part of that 90-odd percentile bracket who is not currently subscribed, won't you considering dropping your boys a sub? We would really appreciate it, and we appreciate anyone who is following us already. But we are trying to get to that 1k subs mark. The original goal was before 2025. I mean, we are at 920 at the moment. You never know. It could happen. But yeah, please help us reach our goal and subscribe, like, and just follow the channel. We do try to bring out as much content on a regular basis, and if you have followed the content of the channel, you would know it is mainly Rogue. That is just our thing. It's how we like to play Yu-Gi-Oh! But yeah, check out the links in our description where you will find a link to Kong's Cards, the amazing TCG online store, and you can use our discount code ChainBlock5 to save yourself 5% at checkout. Crossover Breakers is the most recent set at time of this recording, but Shining Darkness will be upon us before we know it. Absolutely incredible set that is yet to define the current meta for when it drops. So we are obviously profiling for you a Edison deck profile today. This is the first Edison deck on the channel, I do believe. Anyone who has played Edison will know it's just an amazingly fun format, and it is a very nice break from Modern if you're sick of constantly playing that. Shout out to all the boys who play Edison in my Discord and our Facebook page, and you know, UnderWorld Gaming. They know who they are, absolutely legends. It is like, it's just really fun, and it just seems to attract some of the best characters in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, there's been some people in my chain of Edison players who've literally just been playing Edison for the last 10 years, and yeah, if you know, you know. It's super, super cool. So, without further ado, I am profiling for you another Ancient Gear deck, but this time it is in Edison. That's right, Ancient Gear is good in a few formats. So yeah, straight away we have 3 of the Ancient Gear Gadgeton Dragon. It's probably the boss monster of the deck. It is 3k, it's absolutely huge. It does have the Ancient Gear effect where, you know, spell and trap cards can't be activated when it's attacking. It does have a bunch of gadget effects, which would probably never ever happen. But it is also a level 8. It's great to discard, and you have Fortress in your GY. Gear 10, when it's destroyed, can summon from graveyard as well, and obviously deck and hand. So incredible card, super, super good. Boss monster of the deck, without question. Nextly, we are playing a card which unfortunately cannot be special summoned. We are playing 3 Ancient Gear Beasts. Now, this card is uniquely good in my locals because there is a lot of Ryos and a lot of Vayus, and this card has a unique effect along with the Ancient Gear spell and trap protection that when it destroys a monster, whatever monster it destroys, it negates its effects. So just stopping all flip monsters dead in their tracks, and a few cards with graveyard interaction. Super, super cool. And when Gear Town is up, you can just normal summon this without tributing, because Gear Town reduces the number of tributes required for a tribute summon of an Ancient Gear by 1. So reducing 1 tribute by 1 is a just normal summon 6-star. We are playing the 1 Ancient Gear Golem. This is just for future fusion. Also, if you brain control a card, you can, with Gear Town up, just tribute summon the Golem over it, or Gadgeton, that does pop up. And then we are playing 1 Ancient Gear Engineer. So this card's attack is obviously quite low for a 5-star monster. Again, with Gear 10 up, you can just normal summon it. Being 5-star is pretty handy for synchro plays in this deck, as we are restricted into what levels the Ancient Gear monsters are. But after it does the Ancient Gear damage protection thing, afterwards you can pop a spell and trap card your opponent controls, just like slowly like digging through your opponent's back row. Absolutely incredible. Then we are playing 3 Ancient Gear Knight. So this is a Gemini monster. It's 1800, which is pretty big, to be fair. It beats over or can crash with a lot of stuff. When you normal summon it, it just gets the Ancient Gear protection effect, which is obviously not great. But you can play Gemini Spark in this deck and then tribute this card to pop a card on your opponent's field and then draw 1. So this has been testing really, really well. I might consider dropping these to just play some other stuff. It's just one of them things. This is quite easily summonable, but just it doesn't really pop up that much, but it is still really, really cool. And just having 3 more forms of removal is really fun. Okay, that's it for, I believe, the Ancient Gears. We'll go into the field spell because, you know, this is what this deck is pretty much all about. And with that being said, we are obviously playing the 3 Gear Town. So yeah, it is Edison format, and anyone who hasn't played Edison format, there can only be 1 field spell up at any given time, and when another field spell is played, whatever field spell is on the field at that time will be destroyed. So if your timing is correctly when you play another field spell, you will get to activate the effect of Gear Town, which special summons a Ancient Gear monster from hand, deck or graveyard. Absolutely incredible. We are playing some other field spells with some funky effects in Future Visions. Now Future Visions is a Fortune Lady card, it's pretty fun. So what it does is, when someone normal summons a monster, that monster is banished until their next standby phase. So what that means is, if your opponent normal summons a monster and it gets banished, if you then get rid of this field spell, that monster doesn't come back. There's also unique synergy with Minefield Driller, as when this card leaves the field, it lets you get a field spell back from your GY. So if you normal summon a Minefield Driller while you have Future Visions up, it will trigger the Minefield Driller's effect and you will get Gear Town back. Really, really cool. Our other field spell we are playing is Gaia Power. It just gives all Earth monsters 500 attack. So if you open a way to Gear Town and Machina Fortress, so if you normal summon Gear Frame and then you summon out the Fortress and then you get a Ancient Gear Gadgeton Dragon up, that is enough for game. And then since we're playing field spells, we are obviously playing 3 Terraforming. Goes without question. So that is it for the field spell lineup. Let's go into the Machina cards. So as I said, we are obviously playing 3 Machina Gear Frame. I just love Earth Machine. I love Earth Machine, it's great. If you normal summon Machina Gear Frame, you get to add a Machina monster except itself from your deck to your hand. You will 9 times out of 10 be adding Fortress. Fortress is an absolute house. It is an incredible card. It's a free special summon in this card by discarding a monster that's level 8 or higher. So you can discard your Gadgeton Dragon, which is free because you'll get that back from the GY anyway. You can also add Frame to your hand to special summon it from grave. Frame is just a free add of Gear Frame, and it's a level 10. You cannot actually summon this card, it is just discard fodder to get your Fortress back from the GY. So I thought I'd add something a little bit extra to this deck, that being 3 Deep Sea Diva and 1 Spine Guildman. So a lot of the times there is a few normal summons in this deck, which are Ancient Gear Beast, your Gemini and then your Gear Frame. But a lot of the times that I found in testing before this locals was, I would pop Gear Town and I would get like 2 monsters up in the field. I could get a Gear Frame out, but I would just have no normal summon. So what would happen a lot of the time is, if you destroy your Gear Town and then special summon, say, your Ancient Gear Knight, you can normal summon this and then go into level 6 with the Knight and this, and then your other one you can go into a level 8, go into Stardust or something for protection. But yeah, really, really good. Your Spine Guildman does obviously go into Catastar. And if you normal summon Diva, you can, most of the time you're getting another Diva, but if you open the other Diva, you can then just go in for a Spine Guildman. This is like obviously not the most amazing card. It's usually the first card I side out depending on what my opponent is playing, but you know, sometimes your Catastar is just excellent. So going into some power spells, we are playing the 1 Future Fusion. So that is why we're playing Ancient Gear Golem, because we are going into Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem. Card's incredible. We are playing another funny fusion target. I'll show you that when we get there. But super, super cool card. This does strike the fear of God into anyone in Edison when it is played against them. We are playing 1 Brain Control. Absolutely incredible. You can, the amount of times I've tributed over a Brain Control monster with an Ancient Gear monster that requires 1 less summon is insane. Best card in the deck is probably Limited Removal. If you open this card, you should be winning. It's so good. We do burn through a lot of monsters, so we are playing the 1 Pot of Avarice, and then sometimes we use this to destroy our own Gear Town. This is Heavy Storm and Mystical Space Typhoon. Incredible. And then the only traps we are playing in the deck are 2 Royal Tribute. This was incredible. It baits a Solemn Judgment if they have it pretty much every time. It's an insane card. It came up so much, it did just win me a good few games. Before we go into the extra deck, I will go quickly into the side deck. We are playing 2 Cyber Dragon to go into a certain extra deck monster. You know, I'm usually the only one who suffers from Cyber Dragon getting summoned. I am the machine player wherever I go, but it's just an incredible card. It's a level 5 monster at the worst, a free special summon, but it does go into Chimera Tech. We are playing 3 DD Crow, as there is a lot of YuGiOh players in my locals, and the rest of them are usually Frog players. We are playing the 1 Necro Valley, as it does hurt a lot of decks in my locals. And then to wipe some boards, I do usually side in some Vortexes and 2 Knocks. This could change varying on your locals. This is just particularly really good at my locals. This is also pretty good at my locals. And then for some traps, I'm playing 1 Solemn Judgment and 1 Forced Back. So Forced Back is a pretty funny card. It just essentially negates the normal or flip summon of a monster, and then bounces it back to my opponent's hand. So it negates a Raikou and bounces it back to your hand, or just negates a normal summon and bounces it back to your opponent's hand. It's pretty funny. And then Solemn is Solemn. And then 3 cards that are, you know, pretty good into a lot of other decks is 3 Dust Tornado. So guys, that is it for the side deck. Let's finally go into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, a card which pretty much is in everyone's deck is 1 Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. This was the first locals where I have ever been Fortress Dragoned. It was quite upsetting. It was bound to happen after about 2 years of playing Edison eventually, and it did in fact happen twice. So yeah, that was upsetting, but sure, look, it's a great card. It's in everyone's extra deck, pretty much just in case. Now, the other funny Future Fusion target that I was playing was 1 Super Ally Beast Raptinus. I probably butchered that name, but it just requires 2 Gemini monsters, and when it's on the field, the effect of all Gemini monsters gain their effect. So it's a good monster. It was just in case I drew the Ancient Gear Golem for Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem, and that did in fact pop up. I did open Future Fusion and Ancient Gear Golem. Next, as I said, we can go into Catastrophe fairly easy with Spine Gilman, one of the best monsters ever in all YuGiOh in YuGiOh Garden. We are playing Brio. Our Ancient Gear monsters are just like free discards as they come back quite easily. We are playing the Flamvel Synchro 6. He does do piercing damage, I believe, and then gains attack. But he is just essentially here to Synchro Climb with Deep Sea Diva, as I would rather keep the YuGiOh and Brio for situations that they're needed. We are playing 1 Ancient Fairy Dragon, as it can pop a field spell, and then if you choose not to add another field spell, you will not miss the timing of Gear Town. We are playing Black Rose to wipe our board. You make these with your Diva and Catastor, and then the other Diva, or 1 Diva and your Ancient Gear Engineer. We are playing Stardust, incredible card. We are playing Red Dragon Archfiend, as it's just a monster of a card. We are playing Twat Ritter Archfiend for some target protection. We are playing 1 Colossal Fighter. I don't play any warriors in the main deck, I don't think. But yeah, Colossal Fighter is just a really awkward card to deal with, and we do have like YuGiOh, so we can get a little bit bigger. We are playing Mistworm, as that can pop up. And then the last card in our extra deck is XX Saber Golems. Golems was actually really good. There was a few times where I actually think I will play another Golems and get rid of, I don't know, maybe the Flamvel guy. That I could, so I literally in 1 game Golems and then set Dust Tornado, and then like I could have Golems again and then just like potentially ripped like 3 cards from my opponent's hand nearly. But yeah, like super good. So yeah guys, that is it for my Ancient Gear Machina Edison deck. So I don't get to, again, as I said earlier, I don't get to play much Edison, so any people who have played and dedicated a lot of time into Edison bar me, if you have any tips for this deck, please drop them. as I'm always trying to learn and get better at Edison. You think being old I'd be better at it than I am, but you know, it is what it is. But again, really enjoyable, had a lot of fun, and yeah, stay tuned for more deck profiles. Go to comments cards and see you.